Motivational Monday, everyone. Today, I just want to spend a little time talking to you about a tool that is already available to you and your students currently that I had no idea that was available until I just stumbled across it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Google Read and Write extension for text help, the PDF reader. Originally, when I stumbled across this tool, my students and I are working with The Great Gatsby this year. And because of COVID, we have to put everything digital. Our students can't be sharing books, but luckily we have a PDF version or an ebook version that all of our students can have access to. And while this is really great that all of my students can have their own copy of this ebook, it presented some challenges because I wanted my students to be able to kind of annotate that text or almost put sticky notes on their PDF while they're reading, and without interrupting reading, mark some important passages that we're going to look at as we're reading our book. And so Mrs. Bedard and I actually just kind of stumbled across this tool that our students actually already have access to. So if you have a PDF and you can see at the top, it'll say open with. If you click that down arrow, you have this read and write for Google Chrome. If you click that, it'll open it up to the PDF text reader. And then you can see on my screen, after it takes a second to load, it'll pop up with all of the great options that Google Read and Write already has, except for the feature that I really wanted is I really wanted them to be able to virtually sticky note their ideas or comments that they found while they're reading. So what they can do is our students can highlight this text. It'll pop up with this little comment button, much like you see on Google Docs. And if you click it, then our students can type in whatever they're looking for. So my students might be looking at characterization in The Great Gatsby. So they might put a sticky note of Nick characterization in the first few lines. They're going to hit comment, and then it'll save their comment on their PDF. I made each of my students their own copy of this PDF on Google Classroom. And so those comments stay for them throughout and just save automatically, which is really nice when my students are reading through something. They only have to quickly pause. They might sticky note this and come back to this later when I give them more time to say, go back through and look for those annotations that you found, and put one or two that you think are important, add them to the graphic organizer that I've given them. If your students should already have this extension on their Google Chrome. However, some of them may have to do a little bit of finagling to make sure that they have it added to their browser. If you have them click either the purple puzzle piece up here for Google Read and Write, they should be allowed to get access that way. Or I also had my students click this kind of gray puzzle piece up here for their Google extensions, and Text Help PDF Reader should pop up for them, and they might just have to go through some quick installation to make sure that they can have access to that too. Just a heads up, I did have to do kind of some on-the-spot troubleshooting for some of my students, and it just required a little bit of patience and class time to help my students get there. My virtual students, I had to borrow a student's computer and share my screen with them to be able to help them download this Google Chrome extension. So our students already have it. The problem is that you might just have to go through some step-by-step instruction for how they might install it or make it be able to work on their computer, but it is there for them if they look at their extensions up at the top of their toolbar right here. I haven't gone through all of the bells and whistles that this tool offers yet. I know that there's all of these great features of Google Read and Write that we've already talked about above. Some of my students, when they've had to do some independent reading of this book, have used the text read aloud for them, which has been really helpful for them. And other than that, they've really just been using the comments feature to kind of sticky note their ideas as we go along. But as I keep working with this tool and I find some more updates that I think are worth sharing, I will make a second model minute for it to show you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions about using the text reader for Google Read and Write.